All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Motorsports Minute here. This time we're finding ourselves a little further away from home. We are down a little further south, a little better weather. It's actually supposed to be, 70 here today?
Supposed to get up in the 60s, but I think
60s?
tonight the low is like 20 something. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Versus the 20 inches of snow we're supposed to be getting back home right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, my name's Brady here, Mitchell, and these gentlemen here have invited us into their place here. We're going to learn about kind of what they do in the F1 SAE world. Gentlemen, your names?
Yes, sir. I'm Creighton Hughes. I'm the project manager here at Husker Motorsports.
I'm Ziad Nass. I'm the technical director here at Husker Motorsports.
Anyway, so one of the reasons we wanted to come kind of talk to you guys is it's not something, we do a lot of different motorsport stuff, basically anything with a motor, we're interested in and follow to some degree. This is something that you never hear of, see of, and especially in our neck of the woods. I'm going to fall backwards right out of this chair. Anyway, this isn't something that we see at all, up in our neck of the woods, at least not mainstream where you come across it more unless you have somebody directly affiliated with that program. So we thought it'd be kind of interesting to come down and kind of see what you guys do, learn more about what it is. I know we've been talking about that a little bit off camera here, but kind of letting us on what the program, is about and why it's part of the school.
Yeah, definitely. So Formula SAE, it's a worldwide competition. Stands for Formula Society of Automotive Engineers, and it's a engineering-based design competition. There's about, at our competitions in North America, we do about 120 teams, but I think there are about 600 worldwide. Europe's really big with it. A lot of great teams out of Germany, but it's a student-based competition, and each year students have to design and build their own formula-style race car, and then bring it to competition, and we compete against other universities. And it starts with a design-based presentation. So you do a design presentation, you do a cost and business report, and then you get a race in a couple different events. Autocross, we do a 22-kilometer endurance run, and we do some like straight line speed runs and skid pad stuff. So kind of tests all around the car. And really they do it as a engineering learning opportunity, but it's an opportunity for anyone that loves motorsports in college to get involved and kind of work with that. So
Yeah, I mean, it's, like Creighton said, it's pretty cool. It's early in the season. It's pretty much just design. Like right now, we're just doing design pretty much, but once you get into spring and actually go to competition, it's a full-on race event, which is pretty awesome.
Do you guys have to build a new car every year?
So the rules state that the only thing that has to be completely new each year is chassis. So you have to weld a new chassis each year. I guess you could technically weld the exact same chassis and move all your parts over, but a lot of the bigger programs definitely will build a complete new car each year and save it. We've past couple of years we've tried our best to save all of our cars so they continue to run. Especially our 2019 car, which was our first design finals car and first top 10 finish. And so we went down to UT Arlington, and I guess you can talk more about that, but they have, I think, every car since 1984 still running on campus. So
I don't know the exact year. It's definitely somewhere in the 80s or 90s. I mean, they had, so for the UT Arlington race, they at the beginning of the race, they had 20 cars drive down the street and enter the parking lot where we were racing at, which is a crazy scene. I mean, it's kind of it's a pretty big flex on all the other teams that are there. It's like,
Yeah.
jeez. But yeah, we try and save every year's car. Although you can see up here, with the blue nose cone, 21 is not fared well.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think they can see it on camera, but
Oh yeah, the camera probably can't see it,
yeah, it's some supply issues and a little bit of budgeting issues with COVID going on in that car, so we had to pull some parts off of it for this car here sitting behind us. But yeah, it's try our best to keep them running. And then really, it's just many cars running and racing as possible.
So this car here, I know because you call them by numbers. So is this your 22 car?
Yeah, so that's HMS 22. So 22 based after the year. So we raced this last summer. We had 2 races at Michigan International Speedway. Placed 7th and 12th overall. 7th being our highest finish in the club's history. So
Nice.
pretty excited about
Nice.
that. Yeah.
The club's been around since you guys.
It's like it's been around for 12 years. 2012.
Since 2012.
Since 2012.
Yeah.
I
So
think, yeah. So this
10
is
years,
at least
11
our,
years.
I think this is our 11th car. Yeah.
11th.
Yep.
your 11th, 12th car. I think you're talking about the naming. Yeah. So currently we refer since, let's see, 2019 car was the first year we started calling by year. Before that, like if you look at our website, we list all the cars, and before that, they used to just like car 1 was Husker 1, and then they had Husker 2, and then it was whatever the car number before 2019's car where they switched to 2019.
Right.
Which is kind of, so yeah, this is 2022. This is 2020 up in front of us.
So are you guys pretty much, you're basically sponsor ran? I mean, does the school help out? Because I know you talk a lot about the budgeting. Does the school help out? Or, I mean, you got, I don't know, 20, 30 businesses, it looks like, that help you out.
Yeah, definitely. So it's mainly sponsor ran. We do get money from the university, and they help us out as much as possible. You know, I'm on a kind of a first name basis with the department head of mechanical engineering, and he loves what the club does for the school, and we love what the school does for our club. So the money that comes from the school, it goes through a student board. We have an engineering student board. And they basically get a lump sum of cash for all the clubs, and then they decide how they want to give it out. Typically, we get around, I'd say like 20 to 30,000 from them to start out, and then the rest is comes from sponsors. We have a lot of sponsors in the ethanol business. We run E85 in our car, the performance benefits and to support local Nebraska agriculture and stuff like that. But a lot of those ethanol sponsors are happy to have a local Nebraska team that they can support in terms of motorsports.
Yeah, it's it's super cool. I was telling him earlier, I wish I would have had this opportunity. I was telling you guys, I've been in the motorsports my whole life. Something like this would have been intriguing in school, you know. Instead, I was in my garage tinkering on my own. So for the viewers that can't see, I mean, they got their own dyno stand. They got engines torn apart on the, you know, all over. They got CNC. I mean, they got the full setup, and it's pretty sweet. And I was talking to them. They used all the machines mostly self-taught on the machines.
Yeah. So I think everyone definitely. I think we have a couple guys in the past that have had machine experience. There's one guy on our sister team, Baja, that has some machining background, but it's mainly student taught. Just the older guys kind of show the younger guys how to run them, and then obviously supervise everything and make sure they're getting the hang of it, and then we can do it. So anything that's a little too precise or awkward to machine, we'll outsource it to a sponsor.
Sure.
Or use some of our sponsor money to go pay someone to do it. But you know, it's student-led, student-run competition, so we try to take every opportunity we can to get the students involved and have them do as much as they can on the car.
Yeah, I mean that's cool because these, you know, like a CNC, things like that, you just don't learn that overnight. Even I've only used some a handful of times, so I'm no expert either, and I know it takes time. So that's super cool being self-taught like that.
Yes, I was drinking a Capri Sun. You never turn down a Capri Sun when it's offered to you. Yeah, I know the camera here can't see a lot of the stuff, like Mitchell said, that's going on here. But you know, for again, someone like me, I've never been around this. You know, neither has Mitchell. You know, it's not something that's really well known, I guess, as far as the motorsports industry in our area where we're from. I tell you what, the level of detail on these builds is kind of obnoxious. You know, it doesn't look like that from far away until you get close, and you're like, wow, somebody's put a lot of time into and thought into this.
It's kind of just what you get with the, you know, team of, you know, 15, 20 engineers that all want to do something crazy, dream up these insane imagination, you know, designs. And unfortunately, a lot of the time we kind of have to reel them back in with the capabilities that we have, but we like to let, you know, kind of the imagination run wild and do the best we can on them for sure.
Is it? Is there any button of heads on ideas there?
Oh,
You
it
put
definitely
15,
happens.
15 engineers in the same room.
Definitely
Yeah, we have we meet for design, as a team, 2 to 3 times a week, and then we'll have a leadership meeting too, where we just sit down and talk about what's going on, and get a lot of, it's fun hostility in those meetings sometimes. You get suspension guys that want to have a $15,000 set of hubs and uprights on their car like we did last year, but yeah, it's we try to do. Especially with me in project management, when I was as a sophomore, I was an aerodynamics lead on the team, and kind of just wanted to do as much as you can to make a cool design and a design that works and helps the car. And now seeing on the other side on the project management, it's hard to tell those guys that, hey, like, we might not be able to do this year, we might have to put it off a year, or might not be able to do it in the foreseeable future. But just now trying to get every opportunity we can to let them run away with it and see what they can do.
Got cool ideas, but everything's got to be within a budget, unfortunately.
Yeah, budget and time. I mean,
right.
We start design in August, and we start manufacturing in November or December usually, and then we're racing by May. So it's a really quick turnaround time.
Yeah, I'd say definitely the bigger one is time. I like to think that any idea that we can come up with, we can try and find a sponsor. If it's a money problem, we can try and fix it with finding more sponsors or fit into the budget somehow. But most of the time, it turns out to be a bigger, we're not gonna have time to design it, we're not gonna have time to implement it, so it's not gonna work out.
Right. Yeah. I guess my favorite question, we can go one by one with you guys. What got you into the motorsports?
You want to start?
I can't. I mean, motorsports as in like this team, or just motorsports in general?
In general, because I mean, the in general is what ultimately brought you here, in a sense.
I don't know. That's a pretty good question. I guess my dad has always been into cars and stuff like that, and so from a young age, I had pretty large interest in what was new coming out and stuff like that, because that's what he was interested in, and I always loved Porsche. And then from there, when I turned 16, I got my own car. I kind of started tinkering a little, and that's where I branched out to my own love of cars from there. Trying to learn how to drive them fast, learn how to work on them, what kind of stuff I can do to make them a little faster. And then fast forward, I found this team, the Husker Motorsports team, and from there is just a whole nother level that I've enjoyed a lot. So, hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know. I'm kind of similar. I mean, coming into college, I really didn't have much at all of a motorsports background. My dad is he's a car guy, but he's not necessarily doing much of the engine building or anything like that himself. He drives a Challenger, but he's an accountant, so he's like, most of the time he's just experiencing, going fast and stuff like that, not necessarily sitting in the shop tinkering with stuff. But growing up, kind of just building Legos and stuff like that, always kind of wanted to get engineering. And then I came to school here and saw this great program at just an engineering club fair, and saw, looked around, I was like, I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff here at university, but this has got to be the coolest. I mean, so that kind of got me into it. And then since I started, working with the team, really started getting into, watching motorsports and following motorsports. And now we watch F1 all the time. We were in the shop last year and working on the car, and it was like probably midnight or something. And then last year, and I said, I think 24-hour Le Mans is on. So at midnight, we left the shop and went back to my place and stayed at my place up till 5 a.m. watching 24-hour Le Mans or something like that. And then, so it's, like I said, coming to college, not much with the motorsports side, but once I found this group and just really got into it, and now it's pretty much most of my life. So
Right, and it's crazy the friends and relationships that you build, like in the motorsport industry, for sure. I know we have, for sure. But just meeting all these people, I've talked to a lot of different people now in the last month and a half, and almost everyone I've talked to has, has the sense of, I've met so many new people being in the motorsport industry, and they're like, half of them I would call best friends or family because I'm with them so much, obviously have similar interests. But like we were talking earlier, so this program isn't necessarily, portrayed to the school or other schools or even in the nation maybe as much as it should be. I mean, if I would have known about an opportunity like this, I would have loved to take it up. Hopefully our platform, that's what we're shooting for. Show all the different types of motorsports, show how you can get into them. As of you guys, how can we help you, or how do you want people to find out and grow this sport, grow Husker Motorsports?
That's a good question.
That's the big one.
I think, well, I don't know. You have anything?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the first is, I mean, you can go to our website, huskermotorsports.com, and there's a lot of information on there about club's history and stuff like that. But also, I mean, if you look at any of these, you just look up Formula SAE, start rummaging around. There's a lot of good stuff on social media and just different websites talking about it. Pretty much every team has their own website and stuff like that. So that's one way for sure. I don't know. I think, I think as we get more into media and stuff like that, I think it's hard sometimes for teams to get into that because a lot of them are just engineers that want to build a car and don't necessarily know how to run a social media program or anything like that. So it can be hard to grow it sometimes, but I think once we get bigger, I think I think it's huge over, like in Europe, they they live stream all the events and they have overlays with sector times and stuff like that. It's a little different here in the U.S. But yeah, I think just going to local colleges around you, asking around, there's a team nearby pretty much everywhere. So
Yeah, that's after we were talking, we figured out UND has a team, so we're probably gonna get bad mouth being from North Dakota, talking to someone in Nebraska.
Yeah, we'll hear something about it.
Yeah. Someone's gonna bring it up. Oh, you could at least talk to the team in North Dakota. But you guys were on a trip, and like I said, I was looking for different motorsport avenues, people to talk to on our way down, and I ran into Husker Motorsports, and it worked out pretty slick with where we stayed last night and everything else. And I'm glad we came because I know zero about F1, and it's cool to learn more about it. I mean, probably have to go watch something now.
Well, yeah. Now that, like I said, I didn't even know we had a team in North Dakota. UND has one. I mean, it makes sense, but I had no idea. Not one clue.
So are these cars, is anyone, now that electric is getting huge, are teams trying to move to the electric? Because, obviously your torque and everything skyrockets.
At least
Yeah,
looking at it as an option for a power platform.
yeah, so it's technically a different class within the competition, but a lot of the big teams are switching there. Most German teams are already there. Like the biggest team for a while was University of Michigan Ann Arbor. They're backed by Ford and GM over there in Detroit, but they were on top of Formula SAE in the U.S. for last 5 years or so, and now they're switching over to EV as well. So
Yeah, I think Michigan is, so they were, like Creighton said, they were pretty much top in the IC in the nation, and internationally they were very competitive, and they've, as of this previous year, they've completely stepped back from the combustion side and they've gone to electric.
Wow.
And actually, I like this fact a lot, so I try and tell everybody that I can sit down and have listen about it. The fastest 0 to 60 electric vehicle right now is a Formula SAE car. So
Really?
I think 0 to 60 is like 1.4.
1.5, 1.6. Yeah.
Wow,
Did
that's
it over.
that's
One of the
booking.
German teams over there. Yeah.
I was gonna say that, I didn't want to cut you off, but typical Germans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they're on top of it, man. When
Yeah.
it comes to the engineering and things like this, they are spectacular.
They do.
Yes, they do. Yeah,
1.6 though.
1.4.
Yeah, I don't know the exact time, but it's in
Somewhere
the
in
mid
that range.
ones. Yeah.
That's
Insane.
wicked fast. That's
You watch the video. There's a video of it on YouTube or something like that, and it looks surreal. It's insane.
So I'm trying to rack my brain around that over here.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing.
I think they showed on the video they pulled 2 Gs just under acceleration, like 4 straight line acceleration.
Wow.
Wild, yeah.
Wow.
We
That's
barely pull 2 Gs corner. I think our theoretical max is 2.
too.
I think that's what our suspension lead told me the other day.
Wow. That's
Booking.
that's fast.
That's what it is.
Yeah. So when you guys do the dynos on these engines over here, I mean, can you read the horsepower and everything? Is that kind of, or what are you after? Are you looking for power curves? Are you looking for just test and tunes, or what are you after?
So obviously we only have an engine dyno. Well, we only have an engine dyno stand here. So generally what we try and do here is we can put load on the engine, so we try and use that to tune it, and we can pull horsepower and torque numbers, so we do look for some of that to understand what our loss through the drivetrain is. And then we try and just get it in the rough ballpark, and then we have a sponsor who has a chassis dyno, and we go out there and we can get some better numbers of what we're actually putting down to the ground. And they're great over there. It's the Shop Incorporated, and they have great guys there that help us out with tuning and stuff. And so,
Sure.
I do the tuning on the car, and I have so much knowledge, and they add a completely whole nother layer to that, which is awesome. So,
Nice. So what does one of these bad boys put out for horsepower?
Well, I got a question before that.
Sure.
Because that's going to relate to his.
Sure.
I noticed I was doing a lot of reading online on this. You guys run a lot of 600 series, right?
yeah.
Is there different classes then based on the engine, or is that just like the ballpark of where everybody?
All pretty much one. I mean, like in the internal, there's two classes in the race. There's just the internal combustion and the electric. So obviously we're internal combustion, and the only thing in terms of like engine size is you have to stay below, I think it's 715.
710 or 715
It's gotta be
cc.
a range. Okay.
Yeah, and you also have to be a 4-stroke.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, no 2 strokes. But yeah, we're running a Kawasaki 600 series out of their Ninja ZX6R. Does like 636 stock, right?
Yep.
But yeah, we're planning to bore it out to 675 this year, so hopefully see some power increase from that as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's led into my horsepower question. Yeah, so I mean they're 480, 500 pounds. Is that about what they weigh?
480 for this one is right on the money. They weigh them at competitions. That's pretty much fully ready to drive and race. Horsepower wise, I would say we probably make somewhere in the range of like upper 70s, 80 horsepower on the 636.
Which is a lot for 400 to 500 pounds.
Yeah.
And
Definitely
that's a
get
lot.
some goes. Yeah.
Right. So the last or 2 podcasts ago, I did a guy, and he put a 660 snowmobile engine in a little mini truck. The mini truck weighs like 1,500 pounds, and it's roughly like 120 horse. So I mean, and that thing absolutely. I think he said he topped it out at a little over 100 or something like
Yeah,
that.
wow.
So
There's no weight in the back of that thing.
no,
So
I mean this is half the weight and 70 horse, not much less horse. 30.
how does the driver selection work out?
So yeah, like at competition, they require you to have 4 drivers. That's mainly so that you don't bring like an all-star guy or like some prodigy F1 karting guy. So like basically, there's 4 main driving events, and each event you get basically 2 runs. So 8 runs, 4 drivers. You can split kind of how you want them to do each run. Endurance, you need 2 separate drivers. You do half the laps with 1 driver and then half the laps the other. So anyway, we need to bring 4 drivers to comp, and they usually is based off of kind of engineering. Like we'll just take in engineers on the team and put them on the track and practice and see who's kind of top dog. But then we get kids like this dude that roll up that don't necessarily have an engineering background but are looking to drive or at least looking to work on the car, and then we gave him a shot and he kind of went in there. So it's really just based off time, but we look for on the team internally first, and then maybe go out to some other sources, see if there's anybody around that put down some better times. So
Try and look for, if you come on the team, if you happen to be on the team and you're like, oh, actually I have some racing background already, then we'll usually give you a shot in the car, because it's in our favor to have a fast driver. If you spend a lot of time designing the car, but you can't get a driver to put down the times, then it doesn't look that great.
Right. I mean, you look at any big NASCAR F1 team, you got a whole group of guys that are putting a car together. Usually it's most likely it's not the driver that's putting it together. So, they're building basically his masterpiece, and he's the one that's great behind the wheel and putting the numbers down. So, totally understandable.
Takes both sides, though. We know,
Right.
and across any sport, people that can build a wicked machine but can't drive it.
Yeah, you still gotta know how to run the wheel.
Definitely. Yeah, I think, and that's kind of a lot of the limiting factor for a lot of teams too, is that, the quick turnaround on these cars, first of all, a lot of teams don't get a lot of testing. A lot of teams will come to competition and the first time they start their cars, like in practice track or in technical inspection. And so having testing time and trying to get the car built as soon as possible so we can get, first of all, to test the car and make sure everything's running right. Second of all, to get drivers seat time, because if they don't have any seat time coming in, it's really hard to put down any sort of time. And so that's kind of the thing, is like you can design a perfect car, but if you get to the start line and it doesn't start, or if you get to the start line and a driver doesn't know how to drive it, can't really do anything with it.
Yeah, test time is super important, like Creighton's saying. I mean, we've seen teams which, it helps us out because if our car works but others don't, that's good for us. But it still sucks to see it. You're at an endurance. It's the last event in the race series, and so you're sitting there. Their car's not starting after driver change, and they get DQ'd, which is a bummer.
So this endurance event, what kind of endurance event are we talking about here? Is it lap based, hour based? I mean,
so it's lap based, and it is an endurance for these cars. I mean, student built cars, but it's not super long. I mean, you're talking, it's like 22 kilometers, so like just under 20 miles, and we do it in about 30 minutes usually. But we'll do it's like, it depends on the track that they set up, but it's usually similar to an autocross style track that they do a closed loop on, and then you do half your laps, come in, you get 2 minutes to swap your driver. Can't make any changes to the car besides you can change, I guess, throttle map and like tune.
Yeah, you can change like the tune stuff.
Can't do anything mechanically to the car. But yeah, you have to come in, change your driver, and go back out. And a lot of times it can be, that is one of the most kind of the sketchiest times of the race, is that because you have to shut the car off completely to get the driver out, and then you have to restart. So I know like Missouri S&T, they're one of the best teams around, and they've had a ton of success recently. I think they placed top 3 last year. But this competition in endurance, they changed the driver, and their car wouldn't start back up at the driver change. They ran out of time, had to get DQ'd from endurance, and then, or I guess DNF, not DQ'd, but they get DNF from endurance, and then they go back to their paddock, and it starts right back up. And so they were like, yeah, we didn't know what happened, but yeah.
got hot.
It happens, yeah.
Huh. Yeah, 22 miles in 30 minutes, or 20-ish miles in 30 minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of power and cooling involved too. So
Yeah, obviously you want to design the car with, I mean, the idea is to keep it as light as possible, so we try and design it with the minimum cooling possible.
right.
And so, riding that line of, okay, what's the minimum cooling we can do while still being able to finish endurance is really tough. And I would say our team hasn't really figured out until, the past 3 or 4 years where we really started to get dialed in.
Right.
What kind of fuel tank? How big of a fuel tank do you run on these?
2 gallons?
Two?
2.5 gallons, yeah.
I mean,
It's
there's
not
one laying over there, but
it's not necessarily rules based. I know a lot of racing events you have to start with the minimum fuel amount or something like that. It's not necessarily rules based. I think on the size of the tank, there might be some regulation that says it has to be over a certain size, but I know it's not like super strict.
Right.
But then they, so you run that, and then another thing with the endurance too is they also measure our fuel efficiency, and that's another scoring portion too. So, like your fuel type and obviously your bore and everything else changes that. We 2.5 gallons. And then come back. I don't think we've ever run out of fuel.
not since I've been on the team at least, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Not that I've seen that we run out of fuel, but yeah, cooling is a huge issue. Like I know we were talking about earlier, before the show. Like we raced in Vegas in 2021, and the entire week we were there was 120 degrees was like the high every day. And then so on our Saturday when we were racing, it was like 10, 11 in the morning, and it was already over 100 degrees. And we came into the driver change halfway through, and our engine was at 250. And kind of stand there like can't really do anything about it now. Just send them back out and see what happens. And so we got like 2 laps to the end, and our driver actually spun the car and stalled it, and instantly vapor locked the whole engine. And so we had no cooling. It actually shows on the telemetry that our coolant pressure went to negative. It was like -1 psi after that happened. And then so one lap from the end, we got so hot that we actually melted one of our catch can lines and started spraying oil on the block, and they DQ'd us from that 1 lap from the end. But we were going to bring it home, but the engine was over 300 degrees.
It was insanely hot. And yeah, once you're out there, like I said, endurance is the last event, and so whatever happens. It's kind of, you drive it till it falls. Either you finish or it falls apart. And fortunately, we didn't finish that
I like
time.
that.
But,
I like that.
That's something we can relate to.
Yeah, I like
that.
that.
The industry we're probably most familiar with, is the demolition derby world. And that statement right there relates hand in hand with the derby world. I mean, contrary to, what a lot of people believe, but like the event, for instance, we're going to watch down here in Kansas, some of these guys have $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 into their whole setup, and they might have, a $15,000 motor, whatever it is. But in that same scenario, you get down to the end there, and you don't. I haven't had water for 2 minutes here, and it's it's spitting all sorts of colors at me. But those guys will do. It's the same thing where they go, well, I'm here anyway. Yep. Instead of shutting it off, you just
run it.
We're gonna fly across the track anyway and see what happens.
Right, run what you brung.
Yeah.
Yeah. We knew we had an engine back at the shop, and we knew we had 3 weeks until the next competition. So we're like, if we melt it, we'll melt it and see what we can do later. Yeah.
So as far as getting to the events and getting put up in hotels, and I see you guys got a couple trailers. Yeah. Like, who provides the pulling them? Who provides the rooms, or is it all on you guys? Or sponsors are helping out with that portion, I suppose.
So yeah, it's kind of mainly on us to find everything. I know we have resources at the university that could help us, but we usually like to do it ourselves and just like we look out to the competition time, book hotels around then. Hopefully, get a decent hotel. We got put up in a pretty bad hotel at Michigan last year. We trying to save some money, found something that was like $50 a night, and got there and realized why it was $50 a night. So, but yeah, we in terms of polling and getting there, all of the cars are rented from the university. We rented 2 minivans and then a dually to pull our trailer and just caravan out there. But yeah, like some teams, they have a faculty advisor that will help with that and kind of go with them to comp and make sure everything's going on. But we have faculty advisors and they help us out a lot with stuff. But at least on our team, it's pretty much all students. So we get to the hotels, we're the ones waking everybody up in the morning, making sure that they get to the track on time and stuff like that.
That's what I was kind of wondering, because I noticed there's no like faculty advisor or whatever you would like to call it. So, making sure people aren't in Vegas doing things they shouldn't be doing, or just even getting to the events, So everything basically that whatever the school is allocated for you and or sponsor money, that's what's paying for all these trips and hotel rooms, and why you can't be buying penthouses and things like that.
Exactly. Vegas was a pretty fun trip. It's pretty interesting. We actually found a cheap hotel called the Luxor Casino down in Vegas, so we stayed there and made sure everyone was doing what they need to do, and at least during competition, and then try to not get too blinded by the lights of Vegas and the
Right.
strip and everything. So
Some background. Normally we race. So historically, the race has been in Michigan and Lincoln. So they're usually one of the races here. But then I think in 2021 we're gonna do Michigan and California. They canceled the California race and set it in Las Vegas. And so that
Okay.
was like a one-time deal pretty much. They have not done it
Gotcha.
since. And I mean, like Creighton said, Las Vegas was that was an insane place to be racing at, and some of the memories I have from there are, I mean, next to none.
Well, I mean, you're at the Las Vegas Speedway. I mean, that's huge.
Cool thing to be a part of. At the same time, you're like, I don't have to do it again anytime soon.
yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Right.
that was the thing. Is like, yeah, they tell us it's gonna be in Vegas. You know, everyone's kind of like, I've never been to Vegas. I mean, I had never been to Vegas.
Same here.
And we're looking at hotels around the racetrack, and I mean, they were packed and they were expensive. I mean, you're talking double. We're like kind of joking around. We're like, well, let's just see what the prices are on the strip. And we're like, might be 20 minutes away, 30 minutes away from the strip, but I mean, price of the hotels were in half, and we're like, sure, we don't mind staying on the strip for a
Right.
week while we're in Vegas. Yeah,
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're there. You might as well
Yeah.
enjoy it too.
yeah.
And it's not like you guys went there to party. I mean,
No.
you're there to do business. I mean, this is what you guys love. It's not like you're gonna not go there and not do it.
Another thing about Vegas is there's a very large motorsports world that has developed there. Especially in the last 5-6 years, all these bigger companies that are moving manufacturing stuff there, or at least the testing side of it there. That if you really want to go out and watch and look for, I mean, there's pretty much anything a guy could find that you can either go test or watch or go visit a facility and do a walkthrough and see cool things that they're developing right now. It's kind of neat out there.
Yeah, definitely. I know, like, yeah, it was a cool scene. And that was like one of the things too. I know, like, they're doing F1 race out there now too, and just I guess I didn't really notice, but yeah, when we got down there, down to the Motor Speedway in Vegas, and saw the the drag strip that they have there right by the NASCAR track too. I mean, there's a huge racing scene down there, and it's kind of another place that like what you guys are trying to find, just like these kind of hidden gems of motorsport that aren't necessarily known. Yeah.
And bring them to light. Yeah, I just recently, so now you say the Vegas F1 thing, I just recently seen the video of like an F1 car ripping through a hotel. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've seen that. Like basically just.
Yeah, it's obnoxious.
Yeah, cool.
It's cool.
Like it was a guy videoing when he was playing like 3-card poker or something.
Yep.
Imagine being that dude sitting there like, shoo.
Hey, we're just gonna fly a car through here real quick, all right?
Yeah, don't step out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna what?
Yeah, I
Don't
know.
leave the table.
Yeah, they I think they had some like it was like a kickoff weekend. It was like a year out from the race there, so Red Bull brought some cars in there in classic Red Bull fashion. They had to put on a show, ripped it down a casino floor. Yeah.
I love their videos though.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't?
Typical Vegas. Only in Vegas.
Red Bull does some sweet videos though. If they're gonna put on an event or be a part of it, they're gonna make it known that they're there.
Yeah, if anybody else, I'm gonna walk into Days Inn and be like, hey, can I fly a car around here real quick for a video? They're gonna be like, get out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, obviously they're big enough. They just flip the bill and say, "Let me do
Let me
this."
do what I want. Yeah.
But guess what? Though? I mean, genius marketing. People pay attention to their videos. We're having a conversation about it right here. It tells you it worked.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I got one question though too. How many people are on your team?
So yeah, we like our leadership core right now is like a dozen people. Maybe a little closer to 15, maybe a
Yeah.
dozen. Yeah.
So we've got 2 aerodynamics leads. And we have 3 suspension leads, 2 powertrain leads.
3 electric leads.
Yeah, chassis lead.
Then we had 3 like upper management executive guys. So yeah, like I'd say that leadership is around like a dozen. And then there's a group obviously of other students that roll around and kind of help us out too. And whenever we say hey, we're gonna meet in this computer lab, we're gonna meet in this and meet in the shop at this time, we get guys that roll up. So I'd say out of everybody each year that maybe inputs something on the car or does something for the car, probably around 30 guys. But really it comes down to like 10 to 15 people that are
Making it
really grinding it and making sure that we get to competition. Yeah.
That's what separates the. I mean, I guess I wouldn't say separates. That's what can make a break or a team. You know, the better teams traditionally have really huge teams, just because the time is a limiting factor, and so the more people you have, the more you can get done. And so we're really excited that this year we have, our team's grown pretty well, and so we're pretty excited about that. When you look at our team in 21 that went to Vegas, I mean, it was like 10 of us.
Yeah, I think we only had 10 in competition. I know, like, teams before COVID, they had upwards of 20 leadership guys, but I know, like, 2021 when we went to Vegas, I think we only had 12 guys total traveling with us.
Yeah,
which
is
is
tough.
super small.
We were
compared to
one of
other
the smallest teams there.
Yeah.
So,
Now, another thing too, you guys say leads. You know,
Yeah.
you have like aero leads and power plant leads. Do people come? Say they want to join the team. Do they come with a certain field like they want to work in? Like, hey, I'm a suspension guy. Maybe I can be on the team, or do they come here? I guess, and they're like, hey, this is where we need help right now.
Yeah. It's like say it's a mixed bag. Like, we get guys that come in and they're dead set on one thing. A lot of guys that maybe don't necessarily have a car background, but they have an aerospace background will want to get into aerodynamics. Or, like, if you're an electrical engineer, obviously you're going to want to work on the electrical team, or most of the time at least. But then, we get a lot of guys that say, whatever you guys need me to do, I'm here to do it. So, and then you kind of find your niche on the car where you said, well, I was working with a powertrain, last year, so maybe I'll apply to be a powertrain lead, and then we kind of go through a little, application and interview process, make sure kind of what you need to know to lead a team, and just like leadership qualities and stuff like that, and then get you a leadership position. But I think it's at least recently, it might have been, we were talking about this the other day, it might have been, in the past, it's a lot more competitive to get a leadership spot on our team. But really right now, if you know what you need to know and you're ready to put the time in, like, we're not going to shy away from giving you that ability to, put a leadership spot on your resume and have a team that you can preside over. And that's, at least project management, I love winning races and competing highly, but I think one of the proudest things of our club is that these guys that are in leadership positions especially are going on and doing, amazing things after college. I think everyone that I've known that's in leadership right now that has graduated is currently an engineering job. We have 2 graduates that now work for NASCAR teams. We have 2 graduates that work for SpaceX. We have guys all over the place. So it's just one of those things that's like, first of all, it's really fun to do in college, but second off, walking into an interview at an engineering place or any job and saying, here's what I spent the last 4 years doing, and here are the 4 cars I built, here are the championships that we won, here are, whatever you need to do,
Right.
yeah.
And that's the thing about Formula SAE is, like Creighton said, it's huge on the job platform, and companies will come to our competitions to interview people and recruit because they know that the people who are involved in this are high level and they know what they're doing, and people want the guys that come from these teams. So in our last competition, we had SpaceX, Blue Origin, Ford Performance there, Rivian, Tesla. What else? You had all kinds of companies there, really big names.
Big namers, yeah.
Not only from like a scholar standpoint, but like to be on like these programs, it's pretty obvious that like a person has to dedicate a lot more time and time and energy to something like this than just going to school and going home at the end of the day. So I could see why a lot of those places are coming looking for people to join their team. Like, this guy's going to go the extra mile. Let's start here. These are the people we want.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know, like, especially with SpaceX and Tesla, they have, and they tell us this all the time in competition, that they have special applications just for students that do, like, design teams like this, because they know, the whole process of, it wasn't just like, oh, you completed an assignment for a class, that you did a little design project. And I know that the university capstone project is pretty similar in a way, where you go through the full design process and manufacturing, prototyping, testing. But having a team that is going through that, and they're also, worrying about budget and worrying about scheduling and worrying about time and making sure that you can do all those things at once while still performing at a high level of engineering is really interesting. Yeah.
Right, and I think they like to see too that you can handle failure. So there's always going to be some sort of failure. I mean, you're not going to build the perfect car every time, and that's a huge quality how you can handle it. So that's cool that you got all those big companies coming, watching you guys, and you have even recruited off your team. So
Just goes to show why programs like this are important.
yeah,
It'd be cool if a lot more people knew about them.
now we got to dig into him and see
Yeah, I know.
see if his NASCAR friends and stuff can get us in the door.
Yeah.
Trying to get myself in the door. Is
Yeah,
what they're really,
right.
but that's how I tell pretty much any student coming into engineering, especially like if you're into motorsports, if you're going into engineering, look for a university that has a team like this. And if you're at a university, see if your university has a team like this. And if they don't necessarily have Formula or Baja or whatever, just get involved. I mean, if any project that you're doing outside of class is going to benefit you significantly looking for jobs in the future.
Yeah, tenfold. I mean, tenfold.
You got to know about them, though.
Yeah, you do. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. We're hoping to make it bigger for you guys and everyone, and shine some light on this. That's why we are here.
One more thing. Do you guys, does your program have any social media stuff where people could check you out other than the website?
Yeah, we're on pretty much all forms of social media, Instagram. We haven't used our Twitter and Facebook very much recently, but we're going to try and get back in that. I know, try and do that. But yeah, Husker Motorsports on Instagram, Husker Motorsports on TikTok, and Twitter and Facebook. I think our handle's the same across the board, just Husker Motorsports.
I'd say definitely our biggest is going to be Instagram, TikTok, and the website.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Well, for all the listeners watching or audio, Husker Motorsports, go hit them up. It's a pretty awesome program, and it's only growing. It's only going to get better, and with time, more funding and everything else. So, what does it take to get your name on the car?
Not very much. I mean, it's if anyone's looking out to sponsor, we have a couple of different sponsorship levels, but any donation or service to the team will get you at least a sticker somewhere on the car or your name on the car. Might not be on the nose, we got bigger sponsors that get certain spots where they want it on the car and stuff like that. But if you're looking to support our team in any way possible, we're happy to sit down and discuss it and find a plan find a
Sure.
agreement that works for you guys and works for them. So yeah, I know University of Nebraska does great work, and they always help us out as much as possible, but as much outside help as well is always welcome. And when you're going up against teams like Michigan that roll up in branded new Silverados from GM and stuff like that, it's a kind of daunting task. Yeah, but
it's intimidating.
Yeah, it is. But the fact that we've been able to, I'd say we're a bigger team, but we're definitely not the biggest and definitely not the smallest. But just being with the budget we have, being able to compete in the top 10, we've been super excited about it. Yeah,
I think it'd be super cool for maybe in the future when you guys grow for the college to get like on each component, an engine guy or experts that teach you, because you, like you said, you guys go to this test and tune shop, and just trying to give these guys a plug, get them out there, sponsors. It's cool. That's why we're here. Shine some light on it. I appreciate you guys' time. It took a little bit of coordination. I'm glad this really worked out. Well, you guys got anything left for us?
Thanks so much for coming out here and talking to us. It's a really cool experience. We've never done this before, and we love talking about the team, and it's a really fun experience. So we appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out. Never really been, on a podcast like this, and the team hasn't really had necessarily exposure like this before. So, yeah, anyone listening, if you guys want to support the University of Nebraska and support our team, Husker Motorsports. Yeah, check us out on our website at huskermotorsports.com or on social media. And then we can grow the team, grow the club, grow the university, and grow the competition. So
Go Big Red.
go Big Red.
All right.
Other than that, I think we're about wrapped up here. Catch more from Timeless here in the upcoming weeks. For those watching, we got a lot of stuff coming your way.
Yeah, and for the video listeners, I'm going to take some sweet videos of their machines in the shop here, kind of give you a visual of what's going on. And for the audio listeners, you're going to have to go check it out. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening, and thanks to these guys for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.